Hi Starseeds, it's Opheana and Sikaal here today with part 5 in the Energy Body Tools series. Today we'll be talking about your Starseed Nature.
Yes, your telepathic nature, your empathic nature, and your Starseed Naivety. So the telepathic abilities that you have mastered so far in this lifetime, how open is your brow chakra in relation to receiving information in your environment via other human beings, starseeds, via your guides, really allowing for the channel to be open and creating a life where you can support the increase and expansion of your telepathic nature so that the communication can be very clean and clear. You can have it with nature, you can have it, like I said, with other human beings, you can have it with non-terrestrial beings, you can have it with angelics, etc., etc., etc. And so the more that we master it, the higher the number, the more information that we can also receive in. And in saying that, the other side of that is learning how to master all of this information, which creates a higher level of sensitivity of the information coming into your lower mind, your brain, which can be very intense for some people because this information's coming in and sometimes you think it's your own thoughts. And so it's about really mastering your starseed nature within your human life.
And so with your telepathy, it's really mainly about thoughts, but obviously it's all energetic. And we report that from level 0, but let's say level 1 to level 10. Level 10 is, you may know the movie X-Men, and I think his name is, I'm not sure, but the guy that has the big helmet on and he can sense all the humans and all the beings on Earth, we could say he's a level 10 and beyond. So yeah. The higher the level is, the more sensitive you are and the more information you can pick up telepathically. Those levels can increase as you increase your ascension consciousness and as you open up more of your multidimensional portals. It's not automatically that if you're a high-level telepath that you're also a high-level empath, which is the second part, which is a lot more about feeling other people's stuff, feeling other people's emotions, feeling the field, feeling the programs in the field and the intentions in the field. And so it's a very different dynamic and a very different skill set to learn to work with. Some of you out there have both very highly activated. Others have either a high telepathic nature or a high empathic nature. So it's about really learning to work with those tools. Some of you, a lot of you, have them from birth, and some of you develop them as you expand yourself into more of who you truly are. Dealing with both your telepathic level and your empathic level takes some getting used to. It's often in the beginning you might feel overwhelmed. You don't know how to deal with all this extra input coming in, how to separate it from what is mine and what is other people's. You know, and a lot of the things we share in other videos as well is things like learning how to work with putting seals, you know, telepathic seals. I might let you explain that in a moment, but telepathic and empathic seals so that you're not feeling other people's stuff, or you're particularly not feeling a certain individual or a group of individuals that you know you may be feeling at a certain time for different reasons. So that's the telepathy and the empathy levels. And you know, you just have to look online for empath and telepath. These are very highly sought after subjects. Why? Because so many people recognize them. All starseeds will have some of those abilities open, some a lot more of one than the other, and some have both very highly open. It's a very different profile, and the type of mission that is linked to that is often different. If you have a high level of telepathy but not empathy, you can be in different environments than the other way around, we've found. And so often, if you have a high level of, you know, if your empathic level is very high, then you'll probably want to be in environments that are very suitable to you not having to pick up a lot of that type of energy. And if you do choose to be in those environments, you need to learn how to manage your energy so that you're not feeling everything coming in at you. So those things are very important.
Absolutely. Very key is the mastering of not feeling other people's emotion running through you all of the time. We've shared in the past, you can close your feeling center, which is your solar plexus. That is your empathic center. That is where your antennas are to feel out into the world. Okay, so I'm feeling this. These are communication tools, and so to use these tools and to master them so that you can feel more powerful in your life, not weak, not oh, I've got to hide, I've got to hide.
Yep.
It's really about, I'm going to create a supportive environment for my power that I have, because it's a power, it is not a weakness. And it's finding that beautiful balance of not feeling weak because you're bombarded with all of this, because it's one of the keys to what we do in our work, is that we can sit there, we can feel exactly what the other person is going through, we can literally feed the beliefs through because of our high telepathic and empathic natures. However, we don't want to be spending a lot of time with people who have a lot of emotional mess and it running through like rivers everywhere, toxins running through. It's not a supportive environment for people who have very high level empathic nature, high level telepathic nature. In saying that, like Sikaal said, you can manage things to a certain extent by asking for different levels of telepathic or empathic seals. For instance, it's, just your brow chakra is not your only telepathic center. There are other areas, portals, all sorts of information can come into your mind. And so it's about asking for telepathic seals on these areas when you need them. You can have light, medium, heavy duty telepathic seals. We've got a meditation about that. You can have empathic seals. You can close your feeling centers to certain people. For instance, you are witnessing somebody else in your life and you are over sympathizing with them. You're feeling for them. You're literally feeling for them. It's very important to master this and realize you don't need to feel it all for them. You can acknowledge and empathize. Okay, so they're going through that. Do I need to feel it? No, I'm going to close my feeling center to them. I've got the information that I need. I'm going to close my feeling center. I do not need to be grieving with them. How can that empower them if I'm also drowning in emotion? It does not help anybody. And that's the same with telepathic as well. You do not need to be drowning in negative thought forms, negative beliefs, negative programs, all that type of thing. What we find with people who are very busy in their 3D lives, very busy in, say, corporate world or different projects, that type of thing, they naturally keep their telepathic and empathic natures a little lower. Some may have a higher empathic nature but a lower telepathic, so that they can cope in that environment until they get to a point where they want to shift and transition out of that, etc., etc. So it's really, you'll see these areas raise up, and people who have high level empathic, we're talking sort of 5, 6, and 7 empaths, you don't often see them staying in those types of environments. It's too much for the system. So if you're already to that level and you're finding that life out there in the city or in the fast pace, in the grind, your system would be getting a lot of too much feedback, too much intensity. There's not enough centeredness. It's all beta, 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 very fast energy. So you need to come back and make those choices. And that's why we see a lot of people with those higher levels have already made certain choices to have more of a quiet type lifestyle, peaceful lifestyle, have sought healing due to the intensity of all of this feedback. Quite some time ago, when my empathic ability made quite a jump, I just felt the world came in on me, even though we had quite a bit of space, but it was quite a jump, and I was just like, whoa, it was a really big
huge
jump. And so it literally felt like the world just all became very, very close to me. So I needed to get used to that energy again,
Adapt
you
again.
know, adapt again, and then you find your space again, then you're like, okay, I'm good, I'm managing this level now, and that's what can happen as well. So it's really about staying empowered. It's about not feeling like you have to take on other people's thoughts, other people's feelings, really mastering that. And some people, like Sikaal said, they have it from birth. They either shut it down or they live with it, and they live a very unsafe life. You know, both of us, our childhood, we did not feel safe on this earth. Very sensitive beings throughout, feeling everybody else's stuff, hearing all sorts of stuff. It doesn't feel very safe when no one is discussing with you. This is your power, and this is how you master it. And so we see a lot of people, you know, maybe level 7 empath, telepath, that feel very unsafe on earth. And so often, for instance, in the energy body reading, the pillar from heart to earth is pulled up, and it's like 80% grounded, and whereas from heart to source you feel a bit safer, so it might be like 92%. So these are some of the reasons. So if that's on your chart, just really working on anchoring your pillar, mastering this nature within yourself.
Yeah, and first, I mean, depending on where you are, most of you watching will have an idea that you are a higher level telepath or empath. If you don't, the first thing is to understand that, yes, obviously it exists, and yes, if you feel overwhelmed, the first thing to do is to maybe start just closing that down a little bit, or sealing it up temporarily until you learn a little bit more, because it gives you a bit more headspace and a bit more energetic space to manage it. It's very interesting to know what level you're at, because it'll help you understand your world, and it'll help you to understand why you always seem to pick up on other people's thoughts, or you're always feeling what they're feeling and you never knew that's what you were doing. Even in intimate relationships or with co-workers or whatever, you may think that it's your stuff, but in fact it's someone else's stuff, and it has been all along. So that's where these things are very, very relevant and very important. Absolutely. It's about you learning to manage it as the gift that it is, and as the high level skill that it can become in your life, and it will be relevant to your starseed mission, period, or else you wouldn't have access to those gifts. That being said, as people's ascension consciousness raises, more and more of that is the norm. Like in the new earth society, the 5D society, what you're going to find is most people are telepathic, most people are empathic to, you know, different levels, obviously, but that's going to be the norm. Why? Because it's more of an open society with no secrets and nothing to hide, because everyone's open with their intentions, open with what they're doing in their life, what their guidance is, what their puzzle piece is. You know, and that being said, the third element of this category, your starseed nature, is starseed naivety level. Now there's sometimes a little bit of confusion there, because that runs from 1 to 10 as well, or 0 to 10. And 10 means, if you're a 10 starseed naivety level, it means you're extremely naive. You've come here like the purest of the purest soul and child, and you believe everything out there. You think everything is what it is in the world, and you take everything at face value. Whereas if you're really low levels, like a 1 or a 2, you really understand that there's veils in 3D, there's veils in this reality. Things aren't what they appear. It's eyes and ears. Something may seem a certain way or sound a certain way, but you understand that often things aren't as pretty as they may be presented, or people are presenting themselves in ways that is not truly how they feel or how they really are. And that's when you're grounded in this realm. You understand that society and this world still needs to move through a transition into honesty, into living what's in the heart and guided from soul and spirit. So the lower the starseed naivety level, the more grounded you are in the knowingness that things aren't always as they appear, and you understand that, and you're not so swayed by all of that. An example is a very young innocent child would have a higher starseed naivety level, and they're just more, I don't know,
they believe everything.
They believe everything. You could call it more gullible or higher level of innocence. So it's not per se a bad thing, but it's something that you need to manage as well, getting that level down. So as a starseed, with you know, you're used to high frequencies and everybody's filled with love and light where you're from, but here it's different because a lot of people are on different journeys, and society as a collective consciousness is on a different journey yet to move into these higher levels of frequency. So that's where the numbers come from. The higher level of telepath and empath you are, the higher your ability is developed and the more sensitive you are. The higher your starseed naivety level, the more it's something you'll need to learn to manage and control and be aware of, and then not always buy into everything, believe everything that is said to you or that you see or that, you know, is shown to you in your world, to see through that into the truth of the matter.
Yes, it's one of the hardest things for people with the pure heart, because they reflect themselves onto other people, and something that we have done a lot of in the past, and because we can see through personalities and see people's hearts. So everybody has a good heart. It's always there. Oh, they're such, you know, they've got such a good heart. They're beautiful. I can feel that. And to break through these over compassionate beliefs that, because you can see and feel that as a pure being yourself, reflecting that purity onto somebody else, remember that some of these people, situations and circumstances aren't what they seem, because they have the veils and the constrictions and the control, and they're manipulating their world to be safe, to keep themselves safe. It doesn't mean that you need to spend time with that or believe that. It's about, okay, well, they need some more time in that type of a situation. It doesn't mean that I need to be a part of it, because it can create a bit of a mess if you're constantly, openly, purely believing somebody, and there's continual disrespect of you, there is continual dishonoring, etc., etc.
Yeah, at all levels of ascension consciousness, people have learned that it's very important to present in a certain way, and some people are just masters at it, even though their consciousness may be quite low. It may be like, you know, below 250, and then it's all about service to self. But the way that things are presented are from the heart and positivity and love and light based, and sometimes even words of spirituality and starseed nature and things like that, but their real motives lie more in the service to self, because they have yet to develop through those levels of consciousness. And if you're high in your starseed naivety, you can be involved in situations that are not suitable to you simply because you see their heart, or you see always the upside of the situation rather than a little bit more of the reality of what's actually happening. So if you do get a reading done and you find your starseed naivety level is a bit higher, then that's something for you to master a little bit, and to really come back into, okay, well, things aren't always as they seem, and I need to get clear guidance and understand everybody's in a different level of their development.
Yes, even a level 2, it's enough to trip you up sometimes. So even if you're a level 2 starseed naivety, we still see people getting stuck in relationships, especially disrespect and dishonorable relationships with extended family, with friendships, with relationships. Too much waiting, too much over compassion, too much energy put into a relationship that could be refocused elsewhere, due to the naivety that if they keep putting love into this relationship, it's going to assist the others, but the only person that can assist the other is the other. It's they are the only one that can make the changes. You loving them more and more and more is not going to make the shift for them at all. That's enabling, that's supporting a certain behavior, and we just see it time and time again. Because of what people are saying to naive starseeds, they have the knowledge, they've read books, they have trained themselves to be a certain way on the surface. It tricks people constantly, and it really messes with the mind because you want to believe it, because you have this pure heart. So it's really, it's very important. That's why it's been put into the reading, to just be aware of it. Even if you're a 1, 2 or 3, it's still in your system there. There's still a bit of
Absolutely.
a little bit of a trickster sometimes, because you just so want these people to have what you have, etc.
And a couple other things just to add on is what you'll find in other parts of the energy body reading is, for instance, the let's say physical energy body clarity or things like that. They can raise reasonably quickly. What you'll find with the telepathic and empathic type levels, they raise less quickly, because you sort of really have to master one level before you're ready for the next one. So you'll not find people jump as much from like 5 to 7, but it'll go over a little bit of a longer period of time, a little bit slower. Also, going 1 point up isn't a linear up, so going up from, let's say, 6 to 7 is a lot of a bigger expansion than going up from 4 to 5 as an example. So whether you want to call that logarithmic, it's not really about that, but it's not linear. And a final thing that I feel to add on is, we love doing the readings, and we find different profiles for different people. We find, for instance, what we've called the 5-3-1 profile, level 5 telepath, level 3 empath, level 1 starseed naivety, and we find that often with high-level business managers or managing directors or CEOs. And then we also find the 6-6-2 profile, which is high-level telepath, high-level empath, a little bit naive as a starseed. And those are often the sort of more sensitive light workers, or people more on that path of like being spiritual life coaches and things like that, more on that level. And everybody's got a different profile, because that's what they need, and everybody's will expand as they raise in their ascension consciousness.
Absolutely. Beautiful. So again, just looking through the different meditations that we have to support the empathic nature, the telepathic nature, really working with your brow, your feeling center, and to recognize when a thought isn't yours, when a belief isn't yours, when a program isn't yours, when a feeling isn't yours. And remember that emotion is energy in motion. You do not need to run other people's energy through your field unless you are in a sacred space, you have anchored temples, you've set up your energetic space as we do in session, etc., etc., and you're connecting in, you know, in that healing type way where it's okay to be feeling into what is going on, and you can read people's energy, etc., etc. So always being aware of what's mine, what's not mine. You do not need to have other people's energy running through your system, because it's cloudy. It's like your waters are grey, and you don't need that. You can have clean water and have healthy relationships.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you in part 6 coming up soon.
Yes, lots of love.
Lots of love.